Hey everyone, welcome to a space of calm and rest, where stories carry us gently into sleep. My name is Jan, and it's my joy to guide you tonight. This evening, we'll step into the ancient world, into an age of gods, myths, and wonders. Our destination is the beautiful island of Rhodes, home to one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, the Colossus of Rhodes, a towering bronze figure that once stood proud above the city and captured the imagination of travelers for centuries. But before we begin, let's take a few moments to relax. Close your eyes if you'd like. Notice the rhythm of your breath, soft and natural. Inhale slowly through the nose. Feel your chest rise. Exhale gently through the mouth, releasing any tension. With every breath, imagine your body becoming lighter, as if the worries of the day are melting away. Your shoulders loosen, your arms soften, your legs grow heavy against the surface beneath you. The gentle rhythm of your breath is like the steady rocking of a boat, safe, calm, and soothing. Now that you feel a little more at ease, let's begin our journey. Picture yourself aboard a great wooden ship, sailing across the deep blue waters of the Mediterranean Sea. The boat rocks gently on lapis-colored waves that sparkle with the reflection of the sun. Above you, 3 sails billow in the wind, and the ropes creak softly with each gust. Below deck, the oarsmen paddle in perfect rhythm, their strokes blending into a calming, steady beat. The salty breeze drifts in from the sea, cool against your face. It carries with it the scent of open waters, a fragrance that feels refreshing and alive. Seagulls cry in the distance, their voices echoing like whispers across the waves. Every sound, every movement of the ship seems to slow your thoughts and carry you deeper into peace. You are one of many travelers on this voyage, heading toward the island of Rhodes. This island, known as the home of the sun god Helios, has long been a place of prosperity and strength. It stands proudly between Greece and Asia Minor, a natural crossroads of cultures and trade. As you sit near the open window of the ship's cabin, you gaze out at the endless horizon. The sea stretches far and wide, shimmering like liquid silver beneath the afternoon sun. A friendly man sits beside you. His name is Leandros, a merchant of Rhodes returning home after months of travel. His voice is warm and welcoming, and he begins to tell you about his island, its history, its struggles, and its triumphs. He explains that Rhodes is not just a place of beauty, but also of resilience. Years ago, powerful armies laid siege to the island, trying to conquer it. But the people of Rhodes stood strong and defiant. Though outnumbered, they defended their home with courage and faith. When the siege finally ended, they decided to honor their god Helios, who they believed had protected them. With the spoils of victory, they built a monument unlike any seen before. A statue so large, so magnificent, that it would come to be known as the Colossus. Leandros's eyes shine as he speaks. Even though he's told the story countless times, his pride never fades. He describes how travelers from distant lands come to Rhodes just to lay eyes upon the statue. And as if the gods are listening, you suddenly catch a glimpse of the figure he speaks of. Your ship turns toward the island's northern harbor, and there, rising on a hill above the city, you see him. Helios, the sun god, immortalized in bronze. The statue gleams in the sunlight, radiant and majestic. One hand holds his robe at his waist, the other raised as if shielding his eyes from the very light he rules over. Upon his head rests a crown of sun rays, each spike shining like fire. It is larger than anything you've ever imagined. Even from a distance, the Colossus appears godlike, towering over the rooftops, watching over the city, and welcoming those who arrive by sea. The waves carry your ship closer to shore, and for a moment, you and Leandros sit in silence, both humbled by the sight. Though he has seen it many times before, even Leandros cannot help but smile at the wonder of it. He whispers softly, "That is our protector, our pride, our Helios." As the ship drifts into the calm waters of the harbor, you feel a strange mix of awe and peace. The Colossus seems almost alive, its bronze surface glowing with the last golden rays of the day. The journey has only just begun, but already you sense that this island will hold stories you will never forget. And with the steady rocking of the boat, the sound of waves against the hull, and the shimmering statue before you, you allow yourself to relax even more deeply, knowing that tonight's adventure has only just begun. The ship glides slowly into the harbor of Rhodes, its wooden frame creaking as it brushes against the jetty. Sailors hurry to tie the ropes and lower the gangplank, while passengers gather their belongings. You step out onto the wooden planks, your sandals meeting the warm surface beneath. The first breath you take on the island carries the rich scent of salt, seaweed, and sun-drenched stone. Around you, the city awakens in vivid colors. Whitewashed buildings with terracotta roofs climb the hillsides like steps leading up toward the heavens. Narrow cobblestone streets twist between them, lined with stalls and shops buzzing with voices. Merchants call out their goods in Greek, their voices mingling with the laughter of children and the rhythmic sounds of sandals clapping against stone. Leandros walks beside you, smiling warmly as he points out familiar landmarks. "This," he says, gesturing toward the waterfront, "is where our ships bring treasures from faraway lands. Spices from Egypt, silks from Asia, and olive oil from our own groves." Rhodes has always been a bridge between worlds. You walk together past the warehouses and markets, your eyes catching every detail. Fishmongers display their fresh catch glistening on wooden boards. Bakers pull golden loaves from clay ovens. The smell of warm bread drifting through the streets. Traders from distant lands wear clothing of every color, deep reds, rich blues, and gold-threaded tunics. The city feels alive, full of movement and stories waiting to be told. As you pass a fountain, a group of children splash each other with water, their laughter echoing through the square. A woman carries a basket of figs balanced gracefully on her head. Musicians play a gentle tune with flutes and lyres, the melody floating above the hum of the crowd. Every sound and scent seems to weave together into a tapestry of life on this island. Yet even amidst all this beauty, your eyes are drawn again and again to the hill in the distance. There, standing proudly above the rooftops, is Helios, the Colossus of Rhodes. From this closer view, the details are sharper. You see the folds of his robe cast in bronze, the firmness of his muscles shaped with such skill that they appear alive. The crown upon his head shines like fire against the afternoon sky. Leandros notices your gaze and chuckles softly. It never grows old, does it? Even after all these years, I still feel as though I am seeing him for the first time. His voice carries a note of reverence, as though he is speaking not of a statue, but of a living God. You continue walking, leaving the harbor behind as the streets begin to climb. The path grows steeper, lined with marble fountains and small shrines. Each shrine holds offerings, fresh flowers, oil lamps, or bowls of fruit, gifts left by those who seek Helios's blessing. Priests in white robes pass by, their steps calm and measured, carrying incense that drifts into the air with a sweet, smoky fragrance. Halfway up the hill, Leandros stops at a small shop owned by his cousin. The merchant welcomes you with open arms, offering honey cakes and cool wine as a gesture of friendship. You sit for a moment at a round table, tasting the sweet pastry layered with nuts and honey. The flavor is rich and comforting, a reminder of the island's hospitality. With renewed energy, you and Leandros resume your walk. The streets become quieter as you climb higher, the sounds of the city fading into the background. The breeze grows stronger here, carrying with it the scent of pine trees and blooming flowers. Birds sing from the branches, their voices blending with the distant roar of the sea below. Finally, you turn a corner and find yourself at the foot of the hill where the Colossus stands. From here, the statue towers above you, its bronze surface catching the light of the setting sun. The sheer size is overwhelming. It feels less like a man-made creation and more like a presence, a guardian watching over the city and the sea. Leandros lowers his voice as he speaks, almost in a whisper. When the siege ended, we built him from the weapons left behind. What was meant to destroy us became the symbol of our strength. Every time I see him, I am reminded of what it means to endure. You stand in silence, your heart steady, your breath calm, as the last rays of sunlight bathe the Colossus in gold. The journey is far from over, but already you sense that this moment will stay with you forever. The late afternoon sun leans toward the horizon, its golden light spilling across the bronze form of the Colossus. You tilt your head back, your neck straining to take in the sheer height of the statue. From the soles of his sandaled feet to the crown that blazes upon his head, Helios seems to touch the heavens themselves. His body is carved with such perfection that the veins of his arms and the folds of his robe look alive. The sculptors captured the strength of a warrior and the grace of a god in one figure. His eyes, though unblinking, seem to hold a depth that watches everything. Ships sailing in, storms brewing at sea, and even the quiet prayers whispered at his feet. Leandros gestures toward the base of the statue. "Look closely," he says, his voice gentle. "Do you see the markings? Those are the names of the craftsmen who built him. They carved their legacy into stone so that Helios would remember them." You step nearer and indeed see faint etchings, letters worn by time, yet still legible. Names of men who once shaped bronze with fire, who carried stone upon their backs, who poured their souls into something greater than themselves. The plaza at the statue's base is filled with pilgrims. Some kneel in prayer, their hands clasped tightly. Others place offerings of bread, wine, or coins at the altars surrounding the Colossus. A mother lifts her child up so the boy can press a flower into a crack of the foundation. Priests chant hymns, their voices rising in waves like the sea. As you stand there, a breeze stirs, carrying with it the faint hum of those prayers. The sound wraps around you like a cloak, filling you with a sense of belonging. You are no longer just a traveler. You are part of a ritual older than yourself, a moment woven into the history of Rhodes. Leandros places a hand on your shoulder. "When I was a boy," he begins, "I came here with my father. He told me that Helios does not simply protect our city. He reminds us of who we are. The statue is not only bronze and stone, it is the spirit of resilience. Even when storms batter our walls or enemies gather at our gates, we endure. And Helios stands to remind us that we must shine no matter the darkness." His words sink into you as the evening light shifts, painting the Colossus in shades of fire and shadow. The statue's surface glows as though lit from within. You feel small beneath it, yet not insignificant. Rather, you feel connected to something far beyond your own journey. As twilight approaches, the priests begin lighting oil lamps around the plaza. Flames flicker to life one by one, casting warm halos against the stone. The scent of burning oil mingles with the cool air of nightfall. A soft hush falls over the crowd as the final hymn of the day is sung. Leandros leads you to a bench near the edge of the square. From here, you can see both the statue and the sea stretched wide beyond the harbor. The sky deepens into a velvet blue, stars beginning to pierce the horizon. The crown of Helios catches the last glimmer of sunlight, glowing like a beacon in the dusk. For a long moment, you and Leandros sit in silence. The world seems to slow, your breaths matching the rhythm of the waves. You close your eyes, letting the sounds wash over you. The murmur of voices, the distant cry of gulls, the steady hum of the sea. Sleep does not come, but a calm deeper than sleep settles within you. At last, Leandros speaks again, his tone quieter now. "Tomorrow," he says, "I will take you to the workshops where the artisans forge the bronze. Few outsiders have ever seen them, but you are my guest, and I want you to know the story behind this monument." You nod, gratitude swelling in your chest. The promise of tomorrow feels like a gift, an invitation to step further into the heart of Rhodes. Tonight, you rest beneath the gaze of Helios, comforted by the thought that even in silence, the god of the sun is watching. The night grows darker, the lamps glowing brighter. Shadows stretch across the plaza, long and thin beneath the giant figure. And there, under the eternal watch of Helios, you drift into the quiet embrace of the island's night. The first light of dawn spills gently across the city of Rhodes, painting the sky in shades of rose and gold. The gulls are the first to stir, their cries echoing over the harbor as fishermen prepare their boats. You awaken to the sound of the sea brushing against the shore, steady and calm. The air is cool, carrying with it the scent of salt and wild herbs that grow along the hills. Leandros greets you with a smile as you step out into the quiet morning streets. "Come," he says softly. "The city will be busy soon, but the workshops are best seen while the day is still young." His voice holds a note of excitement, as though he is about to share a treasure long hidden. The streets of Rhodes are different in the morning. Stalls are being opened, wooden shutters lifted, baskets of fruit arranged neatly on tables. Bakers place trays of steaming bread outside their shops, the aroma filling the air with warmth. Women sweep the stone paths with woven brooms, their movements slow and graceful. The hum of daily life is only just beginning, soft enough that you can hear the flutter of pigeons' wings overhead. You follow Leandros uphill, past the plaza where the Colossus stands. Even in morning light, Helios looks radiant. The bronze surface gleams like fire as the sun climbs higher, and the crown of rays shines as though it were lit from within. Pilgrims are already gathering at the base, some kneeling in silent prayer, others placing offerings of flowers and coins. The statue watches, still and eternal, a guardian of both the night and the dawn. Beyond the plaza, Leandros leads you through a narrow passage that winds between high stone walls. Vines creep along the edges, their leaves sparkling with morning dew. The passage opens into a quiet courtyard shaded by olive trees. Here the sound of hammering begins to fill the air, soft at first, then stronger, echoing through the stone buildings. This, Leandros whispers, is where the heart of the Colossus was forged. You step inside the first workshop. The air is thick with the scent of metal and ash. Great clay furnaces line the walls, their mouths still glowing faintly from the fires that burned through the night. Blackened anvils stand in rows, each marked by years of hammer strikes. Tools hang neatly from hooks, chisels, hammers, tongs, waiting patiently for the hands of their masters. Leandros points to a slab of bronze resting against the wall, its surface etched with faint designs. This was one of the test castings, he explains. The artisans would pour the molten bronze into molds, then cool and polish each section before assembling them. Piece by piece, they raised the Colossus, as though fitting together the body of a god. Your eyes travel to the floor, where markings have been carved into the stone. Circles, lines, and measurements form a web of geometry. These, Leandros says, were the guides. Imagine the minds behind them. Men who had never seen anything so large, yet dared to dream it. They studied the stars, the patterns of light, and the proportions of the human body. Then they brought it all together in bronze and stone. In the next room, you find shelves lined with clay jars. Some hold fragments of metal. Others are filled with powders and pigments. The walls bear sketches drawn in charcoal, outlines of arms, legs, and even the radiant crown. Each stroke tells of hands that planned with precision, minds that balanced art and engineering. Leandros pauses at one of the drawings, his gaze lingering. My grandfather worked here, he says softly. He told me stories of nights spent by the furnace, his face lit by fire as he hammered the bronze. He said the work was grueling, but every strike carried hope. Each sound of the hammer was like a prayer that the statue would rise and never fall. The thought fills you with quiet awe. You picture men covered in sweat and ash, their muscles straining as they lifted molten bronze. You imagine the roar of the furnaces, the sparks flying into the night, the endless rhythm of hammers echoing through the hills. And through it all, a vision guided them, the dream of Helios watching over Rhodes. Leandros leads you outside again, into a sunlit courtyard. Here, the air is cooler, the sound of hammering replaced by birdsong. An old olive tree spreads its branches wide, its leaves whispering in the breeze. Beneath it stands a stone bench, weathered but strong. You sit together, the silence between you filled with unspoken reverence. For a long moment, neither of you speak. Then Leandros turns to you, his eyes shining. "Do you understand now?" he asks. "The Colossus is not only a statue. It is a memory. Every man who worked here left a piece of himself in the bronze. Their sweat, their strength, their dreams, all bound together. When we look at Helios, we see not just a god, but the spirit of our people." You nod slowly, the truth of his words sinking deep. The Colossus is more than a monument. It is a bridge between the past and the present, between gods and men, between the dreams of the few and the awe of the many. The day grows warmer, sunlight streaming through the courtyard. Children pass by carrying baskets of figs, their laughter ringing like bells. A gentle breeze rustles the olive leaves, scattering small drops of dew that glitter like jewels in the air. For a moment, you feel time itself pause, as though the island holds its breath, preserving the memory of those who built greatness from fire and stone. As you rise to leave, Leandros places his hand on the trunk of the olive tree. His voice is quiet, almost like a prayer. "May Helios always shine upon us. May his light guide our steps." You walk back through the passage, the echo of the workshops still in your mind. And as you step once more into the sunlight, the Colossus rises before you, towering and eternal, his bronze form blazing against the sky. The sun has begun its slow descent toward the horizon, spreading ribbons of gold and crimson across the sky. You and Leandros walk side by side, leaving behind the workshops where the memory of fire and bronze still lingers in your thoughts. The streets are livelier now, filled with the songs of merchants closing their stalls and children running freely through the square. The scent of roasted lamb and spiced wine drifts through the air as families gather outside their homes. Night falls slowly over Rhodes. The last colors of the sunset fade, leaving the sky brushed with deep blue and scattered with stars. The harbor grows quiet, its waters gleaming like polished glass beneath the moonlight. Ships rest gently on the tide, their sails lowered, their lanterns glowing faintly in the dark. The city hums with softer sounds now, laughter from a distant tavern, the faint strumming of a lyre, the bark of a dog echoing in the alleys. You and Leandros make your way back to the plaza where the Colossus stands. In the silence of night, the statue seems even more immense. The bronze surface catches the moonlight, reflecting silver instead of gold. The crown upon his head glows faintly as though it holds the stars themselves. The great figure towers not only above the city, but above the night, a guardian watching over every dream and every quiet prayer. The plaza is not empty. Pilgrims remain, kneeling at the altars. Some hold lamps in their hands, their flames flickering like small suns. Others whisper prayers for safe journeys, for bountiful harvests, or for healing of the sick. A sailor presses his forehead to the base of the statue, asking Helios for protection across the treacherous seas. A mother rocks her child in her arms, humming softly, believing that the god's light will bless the boy's future. Leandros bows his head in silence before the Colossus. His lips move with words you cannot hear, but his expression tells you enough. Gratitude, remembrance, hope, all offered to the God of the sun who shines even in the night. You stand beside him, your own thoughts stirring. You think of the ship that carried you here, of the crowded harbor, of the winding streets alive with voices. You think of the workshops, of men who hammered bronze in fire, their sweat turning into the body of Helios. You think of the olive tree that still grows in the courtyard, its leaves whispering their prayers to the wind. And most of all, you think of the statue itself, a miracle of human hands and divine vision. The night deepens. Stars spill across the sky in endless numbers, a sea of light above a sea of darkness. The waves strike gently against the harbor walls, their rhythm like the beating of a heart. Each sound is soft, each breath of wind gentle, as though the whole island is cradled in the hands of Helios. Leandros breaks the silence with a quiet voice. One day, he says, even stone and bronze will crumble, but the memory will remain. That is the gift of Helios, not the statue itself, but the light it leaves within us. His words linger in the air, and you realize they are true. The Colossus may be a monument of bronze, but its real strength lies in the hearts of those who see it. The pilgrims with their lamps, the artisans who built it, the sailors who sail with its blessing, all carry a piece of its light. And now, so do you. You sit upon the steps at the base of the statue, your gaze fixed upward. The figure of Helios stretches into the heavens, his form blending with the stars. You breathe deeply, the cool night air filling your lungs. Every sound grows softer, the voices of the pilgrims fading, the murmur of the city falling away, until only the rhythm of the sea remains. Slowly, your eyelids grow heavy. The Colossus does not vanish when your eyes close. Instead, it lingers behind them, shining like a beacon in your thoughts. You imagine the warmth of the sun upon your face, the strength of bronze beneath your hands, the endless sky stretching above you. Leandros rests beside you, his presence calm and steady. Neither of you speak. Words are no longer needed. The silence itself has become a hymn, a prayer woven of stillness. Time drifts like the tide. The night grows deeper, yet you do not fear the darkness. For even now the Colossus shines, not with fire, not with gold, but with the quiet assurance that light never truly fades. It lives in memory, in faith, and in the dreams carried by every traveler who comes to this place. Your breathing slows, matching the rhythm of the waves. The world softens around you, blurred by the veil of sleep. And as you finally surrender to rest, you know that Helios watches still, guardian of the harbor, keeper of the dawn, protector of dreams. Somewhere in the distance, the first hint of morning waits beyond the horizon. The sun will rise again, pouring light upon Rhodes, upon the sea, upon the statue that stands eternal. But for now, in this quiet night, you rest in peace beneath the eternal light of the Colossus.